This week on New Music Fridays, got DMX Exodus 1-7. Let's start this like how I always start these. To show my respect to the deceased legend, I will show him the same energy dead as I did while he was alive. Why? Because all you people who want to say how great DMX was never listened to the redemption of the beast. You were just like Def Jam who cut him off years ago, but when he died, you came back to bleed his name just one more time. It's sad when someone who's made classic music in his past has clearly lost his edge, but can't let it go because of finances. The best comparison to be made here would be with Mike Tyson on why he's still fighting at his advanced age. People enable DMX instead of helping him grow as an individual so that he can live a full and successful life. Yes, he had some serious demons that were pulling him to the ground, and the results may not have been any different. But I can't in good consciousness say that he was handled correctly. And you can see that with the single, that Hood Blues, which was nothing more than a Benny the Butcher style track where DMX clearly couldn't put together a verse anywhere close to what he is capable of. Instead of getting him help, we get a full album after he's dead. What are we gonna get from this album? Music that would not have been released if people cared more about DMX's legacy than potentially the last payday. But if the family need it, I say go ahead and run it up. Would you look at all these features? Lox, Jay-Z, Nas on 2 songs, Lil Wayne, Alicia Keys, Bono, Usher, and more. They love you dead more than they do alive. I don't know why people get so hyped for Jay-Z and Nas being on the same song. Like, do you guys remember the Black Republican song they did a while ago? They've been doing this, and to be real with you, the majority of it hasn't really impressed me at all. You can tell by X's voice that Bath Salts was recorded a while ago, because he still had the delivery to a degree, but that was just a bad song. Dogs Out, which is a special delivery sample, and Lil Wayne dropped a dog wordplay that was cool, but ultimately this whole song was trash. Hold Me Down with Alicia Keys had solid potential, a self-reflective track where X embraces his flaws. This is what X was best at. Same with Skyscrapers with Bono. These could have been hits if X was at a different point of his career. Take Control was alright as well, got Snoop Dogg on the Sexual Healing sample. Production was dope. It's just outside of that production, nothing really went right. It had its moments, but it's nothing that I would keep. This project was exactly what I thought it would be, except for it was more star-studded. Rest well, DMX, man. I will remember you for your classics. Eminem, Killer Remix featuring Jack Harlow and Cordae. Can you feel the hype? I can. And what's funny is I can already feel the disappointment. Eminem's fan base is gonna run wild with him linking up with Jack Harlow, but are we even getting a new Eminem verse here? I hope so, but there's a strong chance that we're only getting 2 new verses from lesser MCs in Jack Harlow and Cordae on a song that wasn't even my favorite off that Music to Be Murdered by side B. Yes, there were good moments like when Eminem said he's rapping circles around clowns, surround sound, with his voice getting panned out around you. That was sick for a song that was just a variation of his standard club song format. I am hoping, since it's been 6 weeks since the release of side B, which was released an entire year after the original, that this is going to be more of a true remix. A remix to Ignition type remix, where there will be all new verses, production, and features, but on the same subject matter, which takes it to the next level. What am I expecting? A half-ass attempt to remain relevant. Basically what Eminem has been doing up to this point. So there isn't a new beat per se, but there's a lot of small changes like different drops and added bridge and more that actually do add to this track. The new verses were never going to be able to compete with any of M's bars, but you all know what the best part of this song was always going to be: the bars. Guillotine style, because when it's off the head, I still decapitate. It's like herpes, you can never say that I ain't got it no more. That was entertaining too. Now, Eminem's new flow does feel a bit jumbled, but I think it is the beginning of something that can be made a bit more. I will say I was entertained, but not enough to add this to a playlist. It's okay, but I think a new track would have been a better use of these resources. Ohgeezy, Get Fly featuring The Baby. Ohgeezy, aka Atlantic's Blueface. At least he's on beat. Seems as if the direction that Atlantic is taking with him is getting big features. This time they splurged on the baby. Before it was who? Q the Fool, as the Shoreline Mafia crew member has been going solo. This is a great example for new artists. Just because you get a big name feature doesn't mean that you will obtain that person's fan base. In most occasions, the fan bases are only there for the artists that you feature, and could care less if you drop the hottest verse of the year. But the more that audience sees your name and hears about you, the more likely they are to become your fans. Therefore, you have to be in it for the long haul. And I don't feel Ohgeezy is all that talented. These are promotional dollars that could have gone more into his development as an artist, or in an artist who is prepared for mass promotion. See, labels do this deliberately to take advantage of someone, to water down music, or they just don't know what they're doing. In this case, it could be one of those, or it could be all three. But what am I expecting here? Nothing. The baby is getting his money, and even though I don't think he goes all out on every verse anymore, he should provide a spark that Ohgeezy isn't prepared to turn into something of substance. And I will say this just off the bat, man, that beat just doesn't work well with Ohgeezy. The baby shows how it's done by giving about, say, 60% effort. Why do I say 60%? He said, women eat him up like Miss Pac-Man. Again, this is a guy who said that he is the GOAT, but the terrible bars don't end there. Do like Michael Jackson do, and beat it. This is really the best you got, Ohgeezy. Unimpressive on every level, and the sad part is if labels really wanted to, they could make this work. I could hear this getting promoted non-stop on the radio and people pretending that this was good. I just kinda hope it dies here. Cochise, Tell 'em featuring Snot. Two artists that the labels are trying to break. This time, Cochise, who is with Columbia, and Snot, who is with 300. And with all the money, organization, connections that the majors have, they deliberately go for artists who are not really pioneers. No hate to Cochise, reminds me of a Young Thug, and Young Thug is a platinum selling recording artist. So to say that he doesn't have potential would be disingenuous. Problem is, we already have a Young Thug, and this style has been done to death. They signed this man to a money grab on a wave that there's no telling when the tide is going to go out. And if it does go out and he doesn't get his, Cochise could be left holding an L. No hate to Snot either. He reminds me of a Joey Badass or Denzel Curry, but not developed enough in any of the categories that matter. So when you're a label that has artists that need a break, doesn't it make sense to ally with others who need a break to split costs? Worst case, nothing builds, but you cut your risk by 50%. What am I expecting from this song? Nothing much, really. If the song can hold my attention, I think it could be a good sign, but things like chemistry just aren't built overnight. From what I see, this is their first collaboration together, and how many times have you seen people not take these moments serious enough to build something great? Instead, people do what they do on the song and move on instead of crafting the best duo that they could be. And this track, it isn't impressive, but I believe these artists put in the most effort as they could. I think with more time, they can craft something that is actually solid if they go in that direction. There's potential, but we are far from the point where good music can actually come from either of these acts. I'll come back to check in on these guys in the future, but right now, just the timing isn't right.